Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for another video. So today's topic is something I have been wanting to share with you guys and talk about on my channel for a very long time, like years, and I've never really felt ready to do it. And I'm sounding so dramatic, but this is a topic that's so near and dear to my heart, and even today I don't feel completely ready to, like, I don't feel like my words are in the right order or that I'm like remembering everything that I want to tell you. And I want to come off as informed and as helpful and you know, as honest as I can be, and I just want to make sure I am remembering everything I want to say because there's a lot to the story and a lot I want to share. So hopefully that's how I come off to you guys, and I'm just like really hoping that I remember everything I want to say. See, this is my perfectionism coming out in me because I'm so scared I'm going to say things the wrong way and that it will turn people off or something like that. So I'm gonna try my best and we're gonna see how it goes. And I hope that even if you share my views on some of these topics, or if you don't, this video can be helpful to you in some way. And I ask that for however long this video is, you kind of are willing to look at something from someone else's perspective, and that you are just willing to listen and hear what I have to say. And I just ask that you be accepting and kind and an open ear for this video. See, I'm already getting like so weird. I'm just so nervous to post this because I don't know what the reaction will be. So before I go any further, this video is also a collab with a very good YouTube friend of mine, KezziesCorner. You guys have probably seen her. She's always in the comments section of my videos. She leaves the nicest comments. She found my videos in my channel a few months ago when I started being really active last fall, and that's around the time when she started her channel, and she has grown so quickly and so well, and she makes such good, helpful videos, and she always looks gorgeous in them. She's another beauty and lifestyle channel. I'm so proud of all the growth she has, so we're collabing. She'll be talking about her experiences having a gluten-free diet, so this is kind of like a food collab, which I thought was funny because we're both like beauty channels, but we're doing something a little outside the norm. I think it's good to talk about all topics on our channels because we are not just makeup addicts and that's it, you know. YouTubers have many facets, as I'm sure you all know. So go check out her video down below. I'm super excited to see it, and she's sharing some of her favorite snacks and stuff like that. So my video is kind of more about my story about being a vegetarian. So today I'm going to be talking about the fact that I'm a vegetarian and kind of, you know, why I am, and I want to talk about and address so many different things regarding this because it's a huge realm of my life and there's so much to say and share with the world and with you guys, my lovely subscribers. And this is not going to be the last time I talk about this topic. I want to do kind of a whole series and a bunch of videos relating to it. So if you guys have any ideas or videos you want to see related to being a vegetarian, I'm thinking of like skits, of cooking videos. Like I could even do another one of these videos. I decided to do this one kind of in a Q&A format. So I would have some talking points that I knew people were interested in. So I threw it out on Twitter and asked you guys, and I got a few responses. So I'll be going over those, but I'm going to give you some background first because a few of the questions are kind of asking the same thing, and I get asked this all the time. I get asked certain things all the time. So this is like a frequently asked questions video as being a vegetarian, because a lot of people will kind of look at you like you're kind of strange or weird, or, you know, it's not that common. Maybe on YouTube it is because there's so much like vegan drama going on right now and vegan videos are really popular, but in the real world it's kind of outside of the norm to be a vegetarian. So yeah, I'm gonna go over some things that people ask me a lot. Like as soon as people find out that I'm a vegetarian, whether we're going out to eat or we're at a dinner party or I'm going to someone's house and their mom wants to know what to cook for dinner, you know, these things always come up. So this can kind of be my answer to the world about these questions that I've been being asked for years. So I hope you guys like this video and can find it helpful. I hope that I can reach out to other vegetarians and find some other friends on here. Maybe some people I already watch. I don't know they're vegetarians because maybe they don't talk about it in videos, or maybe other vegetarian channels will find this because of the title. I'm hoping I want some vegetarian friends, because sometimes you just feel very alone and very weird and very different being a vegetarian, because I don't know many people in my real life that are vegetarians anymore. So, you know, let's make some vegetarian friends here. Okay, so now that was the longest intro ever. Let's rewind it back. Let's go to the basics. Okay, so I have been a vegetarian for almost 6 years now, which sounds really, really nuts. I think that might be like the longest going thing in my life, to be honest. Like 6 years, that sounds so long. I think I started being a vegetarian around the same time I started my channel. Oh my god, so my channel's almost 6 too. That's crazy. But I started in the fall of 2010. I remember it was picture day, so it was probably like September or something. My sophomore year of high school was the first official day I started being a vegetarian. I kind of decided the night before that I was gonna start, and then the next day was the first official day. So it has been almost 6 years I've been a vegetarian, so I feel like I have a little bit of experience under my belt to be able to talk to you guys about it. So I get asked all the time, why are you a vegetarian? What kind of made you decide to do that? And I think a lot of people think of it as a drastic change. So let me give you guys some background. I have always kind of felt weird about eating meat. Even when I was little, it would be a holiday, we'd be eating our Thanksgiving turkey, we'd be having our ham on Easter. I always felt such guilt eating meat. I would just picture the animal's face. I would picture its life. I think a lot of it might have been when I saw the movie Charlotte's Web, you know, about Wilbur the pig, and he befriends the spider who tells him that he's just a farm pig and they're raising him for meat and they're gonna kill him soon. And then this pig has like this giant panic attack and it's just fearing the day that it's gonna get killed, and it like runs away and it has like a whole like crisis. And I think that always really stuck with me. I just pictured like the animal on my plate going through that before it was killed. And I'm like a huge animal lover. I love pets. I've always had pets. I've always had such a soft spot for animals. When I was younger, I wanted to be a vet. I wanted to work in a zoo. I would like draw little animal books. I wanted to be an author of an animal book. I had all these animal encyclopedias. Like, I loved animals so much. I still do. My dog is like my entire world. And so is my cat. And I've just always felt that they are our friends as humans, and that it's not our right to kill them for food. Like, I have never felt okay doing that, and I'd have to eat meat and distract myself and not think about it when I was younger, because I just thought it was something you had to do to stay healthy, to stay alive. Like, my mom would cook chicken or beef or pork or whatever, and I had to eat it because I was a kid, and you had to, you know, eat everything on your plate, and I'd kind of have to choke it down and not think about it. I remember when I was younger, I would stand by the meat aisle in a grocery store, and I would just stand there looking at all of it packaged up, and I would just cry. I would go look at the lobster cages, and I'd want to set them free, like the live lobsters that they put the elastic bands around the arm that people like buy and take home for dinner and like kill on their own. I'd want to set them free. It would make me cry. I couldn't even walk by it. To this day, I really can't like walk by the meat aisle without having like a really like emotional reaction, as well as physical, because it has quite the scent. And I'll probably get into that later, maybe even in another video, but your kind of physical relationship with meat after you haven't eaten it for years is very, very weird, and no one really talks about it. It makes me like nauseous to smell it. Oh my goodness. Ugh, I'm like shuddering even thinking about it. I've already been talking for 10 minutes. This is gonna be a long video. I'm so sorry. I know my videos have been so long lately and I'm trying to cut them down, but this one's really important, really near and dear to my heart. If I didn't say it already, I ask that you please be really just respectful in the comment section. I know that my views on this are not the norm, and they're not and they're pretty radical, I guess. I don't know, maybe other people feel this way. I would love to know if you do, because I've never really gone this much in depth with people. I'll kind of give them a brush off answer when they ask me, but this is like the full story. Just in the comments, please, if I see anything like rude or really disrespectful, because people have a tendency to get like really aggressive with you if they don't agree with your views about eating meat, or even on like videos about being a vegan, people will, I've seen awful comments, so please don't do that. I'm just gonna delete them because it's awful, or I might reply and be meaner than usual. I try to be really polite in my comments, but if you just bash on someone's like intimate beliefs like this, that's just not okay. So, okay, warning about that. So anyways, I always just felt really guilty about it. I didn't like a lot of meats. There were only a few I really liked. I'm an extremely picky eater, which makes being a vegetarian even more difficult. I'm very picky. I'm that girl that you'll go out to the restaurant and she'll wave the waiter over and have a million questions. And she'll be like, hey, can I order this without that? And does this come without this? And can I have this instead? And I'll just like bargain and be like, okay, so I'm gonna have that on this side and we're not gonna have that, and blah, blah, you know, million different altercations. So there are only really a few kinds of meat I really like. The only ones I would really eat were kielbasa, because I'm Polish and we have that on a lot of holidays. I'd eat turkey and I'd eat bacon sometimes, and sometimes chicken, but only if it was made in a certain way. And everything else I really didn't like too much. I think I've only had steak twice in my entire life, and it was a filet mignon, and just all the cuts of meat are really confusing to me. So the real tipping point was in high school. My first 2 years of high school, I went to a performing arts magnet high school, and so I was around a lot of artsy people, and a lot of people kind of shared my views about me and about loving animals and not wanting to kill them and hurt them and eat them. And you know, people do it for health reasons too. That's a whole nother reason to be a vegetarian, and I'm not even talking about that. A lot of people do it for health reasons, you know, red meat is bad for you and stuff like that. There's so many reasons, but this is really my main one that kind of keeps me a vegetarian after all this time. So a lot of my friends in high school were vegetarians. They did it a long time before I did, and I don't think many of them are anymore. My best friend was a pescatarian for a long time, and she recently gave that up, but she still won't eat fast food meat, which is really good, because that's where a lot of the meat, the companies that raise the animals for that just have them in such terrible conditions. They're abused, they're dirty, they're crammed. That's another huge reason I started doing research and learning about how animals in the meat industry are just treated so poorly and awfully, and it just broke my heart. And thinking about that on top of just the fact that the animal was killed in the first place, I just could not eat meat anymore. It just made me like sick to my stomach. I felt so sad and just such a sense of guilt. So that's another huge reason. I shortly after became a vegetarian, we saw the movie Food Inc. in my health class, and that really just cemented it in there. It's about how you know, animals are given all these drugs and food that they shouldn't be eating to make them grow bigger so they can grow more meat, and they're not seen as living beings with feelings that can feel pain. They're just a business. They're just someone's inventory, and they just treat them awfully. You know, animals are crammed into small spaces that aren't clean. They're just tortured. Some of them are killed in really awful ways. And if you don't know a lot about the meat industry, I encourage you to do some research. Watch that documentary. There's a lot of other documentaries. There's books. There's movies. There's so much out there. Just start looking. It's really disturbing. So a lot of my friends were vegetarians, and that kind of got the idea in my brain that I could do this. And the tipping point, this is gonna sound so strange. So I had just gotten back from Warped Tour because of the little scene kid I was, big like music festival. And there they give out a lot of different brochures and pamphlets and stuff, so you just get all this like free random paper, and I just all threw it in a backpack. And I got home that night and I was going through it, and I had something from PETA. And PETA's a whole nother thing. I don't really want to get into that because I have a lot of feelings about PETA, and you know, we share the same basic beliefs that animals shouldn't be abused, but they do take a lot of drastic, really incredulous measures and do a lot of crazy things in protests that make people not believe them and make them very anti-PETA. And it's just, it's a lot. But they gave me this pamphlet, and it just had pictures of the way animals were raised for meat, and I just sat there like crying, and it was just so awful. I'd never seen it. I'd kind of heard of it. That was before I did a lot of research about it, and since then I have. But it also had like a list on the back of all these musicians of bands that had played at the festival who were vegetarians or vegans, and I knew like all of them. I knew who they were. I'd looked up to them, and I was like, wow, this is a thing. People really are taking a stand against this. There is something I can do. Being a vegetarian is kind of my own little protest against that industry. And the more people I tell about it, the more I'm kind of telling them. Like, I don't know how many of you knew all of that. I'm not going into it very much or very well, but I don't know how many of you really knew that about the meat industry. Some of the really big companies are just awful, like Tyson. Horrific. I encourage people not to buy from them anymore. Boycott them. There's another one. Why aren't I thinking of it right now? Oh my gosh, the other really big like meat chicken producer. But so I was looking at this pamphlet and I was like, wow, I'm swearing off meat altogether. This is a tipping point. I've always felt weird about it, and now this is really the pushing point. So I just decided, I was like, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm not going to eat any more meat, and I cut it off cold turkey. Cut it off cold turkey. That's how I did it. And that's kind of the advice I tell people. You just really have to do your research, and it just bothered me to the extent that I just stopped. And to be fair, the first couple of years, first 2 years, I think I was a vegetarian. I would still eat turkey on Thanksgiving, and I'd have kielbasa at Easter because it was traditional. That's what my family did. It was just 2 times a year. I don't do that anymore. I only did that, I think, like a year and a half or 2 years when I first started, because my parents had a conniption when I told them I was vegetarian. They still have kind of a hard time really dealing with it because my mom does a lot of the cooking, and I lived at home all the time then because I was in high school. So learning to cook for a vegetarian all of a sudden was very hard on her, which wasn't very fair of me. I should have probably helped a little bit more. But still to this day, they're very kind of not big on it. So that kind of helped them with that. And we had a small family, and there's always way too much turkey at Thanksgiving, so I felt like I was helping out. So that was one exception. That's pretty much the full story. That's pretty much it. Oh, and seafood. I don't eat seafood. I never really liked it. I'd only tried it a few times, but it just smells so strong. It freaks me out. I still view sea creatures as living beings I don't want to eat or have killed, because those are also treated poorly in a lot of places that manufacture and sell that kind of food. So that was not a problem. Pescatarian is where you only eat seafood and no meat, so I'm not that. I'm a vegetarian. I do eat eggs, which, if I think about it too much, make me really sad, and I really shouldn't, but I do kind of still need some protein sources. Becoming a vegetarian, this is kind of advice for people who are thinking about it, it really kind of does take a toll on your nutrition. I know a lot of people who got like really sick after they first became a vegetarian, myself included, and that was after I became a vegetarian. I don't know if that's related, but if you don't have the right nutrition, if you're not taking the right vitamins, I really should have consulted my doctor about it beforehand, gotten kind of some nutritional advice. I still probably don't have perfect vitamin levels to this day, but I do try, and a lot of people it can really mess up. So you do want to be careful doing such a drastic change as that. Although I encourage it because it's what I believe in, I also want you guys to be safe. So you really have to make sure you know what you're doing with your vitamins, and you really have to eat a balanced diet. You can't just eat pasta all the time, which is really easy to do. You know, you still have to get your veggies, you have to get your protein from other sources, beans, nuts, meat alternatives. I want to share some of those in another video. I don't have a lot of them in my freezer right now, so otherwise I'd show you, but I ate most of them, so they're mostly gone. I need to go grocery shopping again, but there's a lot of really good options out there. Another huge thing, I learned this just recently. I saw the documentary Cowspiracy, and the meat industry is actually so awful for the environment. Cows are like the leading cause of global warming, and their methane production is like the main gas that's killing the ozone layer, and that film will make you want to go vegan. I was a vegan for a week after watching that because the dairy industry is also so bad for the environment, and cows take up so much room, and then their waste like pollutes the water. So really there's so many documentaries related to veganism and the meat and dairy industries, so check those out. I know there's a few I haven't seen that I've seen others recommend, like Farm to Fork, and I don't know what else, but really I encourage you to watch those and just to be informed about what you're eating and what those foods are doing to your planet. So that's another reason that I continue to be a vegetarian, because the meat industry is so awful for the environment, and the less of their products I eat, you know, the less I'm supporting that. And maybe it'll stop one day, or get a whole heck of a lot smaller. I have been talking forever. Like I said, I really hope I haven't forgotten anything I wanted to say in that whole background piece of this video. I'm gonna start, I think, answering the questions you guys asked me on Twitter. So thank you to all of you who answered my questions. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for other Q&As in the future, and just because that's where I am most of the time. I love me some Twitter. So Mickey, hey Mickey, he asked, how long have you been on your vegetarian diet? Almost 6 years. Armin asked, what are the top 5 most annoying jokes everyone makes about it? And he said, I want to hear the cashiering equivalent of, oh, it doesn't scan, must be free. My mom uses that one all the time, by the way. I don't know if I can think of 5. I saw this tweet when he first sent it, and I've been trying to think of some ever since then. One is really inappropriate, and I don't want to say it on here, but it has to do with a certain male body part, if you know what I mean. Oh, so you don't eat meat, but do you... fill in the blank there. A lot of these things that people say are actually pretty rude and offensive. What are other things? People will like wave their meat in my face, and it's like, what don't you get about the fact that I'm boycotting the meat industry and have no appetite for it? Don't you get that out of my face? Or when people get like their meat breath in your face. Ugh, so gross. So gross. I was kind of alluding to it before, but like the physical part of being a vegetarian, it, like, at least me and a few other people I've heard this from, like the smell of meat kind of makes you nauseous after a while. Like my mom the other day was putting like chicken in my dog's bowl, and I like almost like threw up because she was doing it right next to me, and I was like, that smells so strong, and you just get really sensitive to it. And if you do eat meat after not eating it for such a long time, it can make you really, really sick. Like my friends that were vegetarians in high school, when they transitioned back, you have to do it very slowly, because if you eat it after a long time, your body isn't used to it, can't really digest it, and you'll just be really, really sick. So you have to introduce small portions at a time. So I've heard. I did kind of feel sick when I would eat it on holidays those first couple years. It's like a lot for your body to handle when it's not used to it. I don't know if I can think of any other jokes. I'm sorry. If I do, I'll put them in the down bars, so look in there. There. Compromise. Okay. Other questions. Melzy asked, how long have you been a vegetarian? Do you ever miss the taste of meat? I already answered the first part, but do I ever miss it? Not really. Sometimes, like, bacon, people call like the candy of meats. If it smells like really strong, I'll kind of be like, ooh, I want some of that. But vegetarian bacon is also so delicious, and I'm addicted to it, and it's so good and so much healthier too. There's like less fat, more protein, you know, less sodium, so much better for you. So there's that. Christina Renee, who I also did a collab with recently, asked, is it harder to be vegan, and if so, how do you handle that? Also, what made you go vegan? I'm not a vegan, I'm a vegetarian, so there are differences between that, and some people don't understand, which is totally understandable. Vegan is when you don't have any animal products, so you don't have milk, dairy, cheese, or meat, or eggs, or fish. I still have I love cheese. This is like a new thing. I never used to like cheese, but I love cheese. So I have tried to go vegan, but cheese is always kind of what holds me back. Although I don't really, pretty much exclusively use almond milk for everything now. I don't use dairy milk anymore. To answer that question. Well, I just explained what made me go, and sometimes it is very hard. Yes, this world was not made for vegetarians, and especially going out to eat is always such a hassle. I can make a whole video about that. It is a struggle sometimes. It doesn't make me not want to be a vegetarian, it just makes me wish the world was more accepting of vegetarians. Kezzy, who I'm collabing with, asked, what is your go-to snack? What is my go-to snack? I really like hummus with like tortilla chips, or I eat a lot of Greek yogurt because there's a lot of protein in that, or popcorn. Oh my gosh, I'm addicted to popcorn. I have it like every other night. I eat a lot of popcorn. It's good. Ashley asked me, sometimes I think about going vegetarian time to time. Was it hard to transition from meat to vegetarian? It was a while ago, so I don't remember it vividly, but not really. I kind of just quit cold turkey, and I'm a very like determined, stubborn, like hard-headed person when I want to be, so I was really passionate about this, still am, so that kind of what keeps me going, and it's kind of my thing to be different from everyone else, so this is just another thing that made me different from everyone else, and I kind of liked it in a way, even though it can be hard sometimes. And then Leah asked, what is your favorite vegetarian snack? Again, popcorn, but like specific, what are other like vegetarian snacks? I really also like frozen mango chunks, or just mango in general now that it's summer. It's really complicated to learn how to cut one up, but I watched like 10 different YouTube videos about it, so I finally found a technique that works, or a combination of techniques. And if you freeze them, I actually have some in my freezer right now. You can just eat them whenever and they'll stay fresh, and they're really fun and solid. So I think those are all the questions. Thank you guys so much who asked questions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this could be helpful, or just kind of share with you what someone else's beliefs are. I hope some new vegetarian friends find this video and find their way onto my channel. Hope you guys subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you to my existing subscribers. You guys are awesome. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know what other related videos you would like to see, because I would love to kind of shed some light on this topic that doesn't always get a lot of attention. So I've told you what I believe. And yeah, let's talk in the comments. The conversation will be continued down there. I'd love to hear if you've ever been a vegetarian, if you are one, or your thoughts on the topic. And make sure to check out Kezzy's video as well. She's so lovely. I'm sure it'll be a really fun video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. 3, 2, 1, BAM!